Welcome to Implant Outlook, a podcast dedicated to the implant printing industry. Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I brought in someone very special to the implant community, Mike Loyd, Executive Director of the Implant Printing and Mailing Association. Mike's been a very visible figure in the implant world for about 3 decades as an implant manager, a vendor, and now an association director, so he knows a lot about implants. Welcome, Mike.
Thanks, Bob. Glad to be here.
Well, it was great seeing you a few weeks ago in Spokane, Washington at the IPMA conference, which I thought was a great one. People were very interactive. I talked with tons of managers there. So how do you think it went compared to other IPMA conferences?
I think it was great. I mean, each one of them has their own identity. I can tell you this is the first event I've ever done that I had not one complaint. Not one complaint from an attendee, not one complaint from a vendor. So in that way, I think it was a good event.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the city was perfect. The hotel and conference area were perfect.
Yep, I enjoyed it. It's nice to be in a city where you can just walk off to things and visit some restaurants or other places. What was it like for you being there after, you spent months planning every detail of this and then all of a sudden you're there? What's that like?
Well, actually, we plan events 3 years out.
Huh.
So the first time I was in Spokane was over 3 years ago.
Oh,
So it's been a long process, and to see it come off without a hitch, it's a very, very rewarding experience. Makes
yeah,
me happy.
nice. What was your favorite part this year?
I think my favorite part was the paper mill visit. They were so enthused about us coming.
Yeah,
They give tours all the time, but they're normally like the students or just interested people, not the people who are vested in their industry.
yeah,
So
exactly.
it was great, and the feedback I got was phenomenal.
Yeah, that was really cool. I haven't been to a paper mill since I started covering this industry in the 90s, so it was cool to see,
Hmm.
especially, how different it is now and much more focus on recycling, that whole display they had showing all the different paper products they're recycling. Yeah.
Yes, and the different processes. This paper mill did not smell, which for
Yeah,
me was an oddity.
I know. I remember how bad it smelled the first one I went
Oh my
to.
God, yeah.
Anybody you remember talking to this year who had something really interesting to say about their implant or something that they're up to?
Well, it was so rewarding to talk to a lot of the new people. We had
Mhm.
47 new people
Yeah,
at our conference, to talk to them and to see how they followed us from afar, and now they're here and they're so enthusiastic and they're
yeah,
just soaking up information. And everybody's moving in different directions. Some people are just now adding wide format printing or flatbed printing, or they're looking at going to an inkjet or whatever. Because they're so excited, it makes me excited
yeah,
for them because I know what they can do. It's just very, very rewarding. And of course, the regular people, the World Bank, the Church of Scientology, all those people
yeah,
always do cool things. And so it's always nice to talk to them for sure.
yeah. It was a win on all levels.
I agree.
So we both been watching this industry for a few decades now. How do you think today's implants are doing in general compared to those of years back?
It's the same but different. We're still trying to serve our parent company, still trying to meet their needs and their printing needs, any graphic needs they have. Some people are doing great jobs. Some people are still struggling because they don't have a buy-in from their administration. The value is not placed upon them, and it's all because of ignorance of the people above us who don't understand what it is that we do.
Do you think there's more of an understanding of the value of an implant these days than 10, 20 years ago?
Well, I know I've tried to do my part in that area, that you have to go and toot your own horn, explain to your administration what value you bring, and
Yeah,
and show them how you fit into their overall plan. Some people are successful at it. Other people just have their nose to the grindstone, just doing their work, getting it out every day. But I think when you're that way and have not incorporated you into the campus life of whatever your company is,
yeah.
you
Well,
put yourself at risk because, again,
yeah.
like I said, they don't understand what we do. So,
I think getting that message out is something that, well, both of us have been doing a lot more.
oh yeah.
And you need to continually let them know what you're doing and how it helps the mission.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
Very
good.
important.
So, I mean, to jump back a bit, since some newer managers out there may not even know how you got into this business, you were director of LSU's in-plant, Louisiana State University, for many years. And before that, you studied
Correct.
journalism and got your degree from LSU. So how'd you go from sports writing into the in-plant world at LSU?
It kind of is an interesting story to me, anyway. I graduated from LSU journalism, went to Oklahoma, wrote sports. I couldn't believe they were paying me to go to sporting events and write stories. It was just a shock. But now paying was like in quotes, because it was very little money.
Yeah.
And then after I moved, I got married, and my wife had not finished her degree. And so we moved back to Louisiana so she could finish her degree. Now, while I was working for the newspaper, I loved the deadline pressure, the immediacy of the newspaper. We were an afternoon daily. So the paper went to bed at noon, and here we start on the one for tomorrow. It goes to bed at noon. And it's just every day is a new day. And it's so exciting and so invigorating to me. I love the production aspect of the newspaper. Of course, then so many things were done by hand. Your page makeup, your plates, everything was done by hand. It was such a different world. And when I got back to Louisiana, I ended up in commercial printing and ended up started in pre-press typesetting and moved up pre-press manager. And then in 1990, I ended up getting a job as assistant director and business manager at LSU
Yeah.
at the printing shop there. And then I then became director in 95. So, as a lot of people in printing, I never intended to be in printing, never thought about printing
Yeah.
as a career, really never thought about printing at all, even though I was in the newspaper business. But anyway, so there's been my life now ever since.
Yeah. Well, that's when I obviously came to know you when you were at LSU.
Right.
You did a lot of great things there, but I mean, what do you think is your biggest accomplishment as director of the implant?
They had been operating on the same thing, which a lot of implants do, and you can't really blame them. Operating, we've always done it this way. They never implemented very many new things. They just upgraded what they had and all this
Mhm.
stuff. So I brought in all these different services. One of my favorite things one of my bell cow things I did is I brought their copier management program into one vendor. There was total cost per copy and no
Yeah.
minimums. People copied that all over the country. And we ended up saving the university over $3 million a year, hard cash. So I was very, very proud of that. We were a very strong offset shop, and moving into digital, I was the first university to have a Next Press, the first university to have
Remember
two
that?
Next Presses. So we brought the color copy costs down for $1.50 a page to 35 cents with adding one machine. It was
Yeah.
remarkable. And the other thing I did, which is a good idea for people who have implants, is we formed a customer council with our customers, and we met quarterly. I had people on there who loved us, some who hated us, and some who didn't even use us,
Yeah.
because I wanted to do it as, this is what we're doing, this is what we're going to do. What would you like us to do? That kind of thing, get feedback. It was
Yeah.
mainly a PR move, but it ended up being very, very productive. And people appreciated that we listened to them in our customer council, and they could come back the next quarter and see that we implemented a lot of the things that they suggested us to do and improved on some things too by their comments. It was a great interaction. I really valued that.
Yeah. And that's a great idea for other managers to follow. One thing I want to add is that when you were director, you were really looked on as a role model in the implant world. People paid attention to what you were doing at LSU, and you also attended all the conferences and even hosted ACUP and SUPDMC. So, what made you want to be so involved and available to help other implants?
We were a member of ACUP and IPMA and SUPDMC when I came on board. Okay. We had tools, we had listservs and forums and community and all those kind of things, which heretofore no one at our LSU had used any of those. So I
Mhm.
was on that daily and asking questions. I didn't care. I didn't know these people. They were in the ether
Yeah.
somewhere. And so I would ask all these what I thought were stupid questions, which weren't stupid questions. And people helped me a lot. And you just find out who are the people that you need to align yourself with
Yeah.
when they're planning their shop. Who do
Yep.
you trust? Who do you believe? Whose information has worked for you? And so, like I tell people, I always use this corny line, I'm just a poor boy from Louisiana, but I can steal your idea. And
Yeah.
so that's what I was really, really good at. And I stole many, many people's ideas and
Yeah.
implemented them and looked good at LSU. So,
Well,
it
that's a
was,
good strategy
yep.
for anyone.
But I also believed and I had my whole life I'd been in peer groups. So I believed in that experience, believed
Yeah.
that the interaction between live human beings is very valuable in your life and your work life. So we not only went to SUPDMC A Cup and IPMA, we went to the Big Ten, we went to Take
Mhm.
Cup, we went
Yeah.
to Swaycomes, we went to, anything that was
Yeah.
around, I could send somebody to. Went to, the trade shows, the large trade show in Chicago every year. So I just believed it was a valuable experience and it was a way I could reward my employees.
Yeah. Then you worked for Rico for a while,
I
helping
did.
establish their strong connection with implants. So what did you take away from that experience?
That was an experience I enjoyed more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
Number one, going into corporate America. I'm from the South, right? And they're in New Jersey. That's a whole nother world for us. And when I went to work for Rico, they had not even been in the production business yet. They were operating what they call stealth mode, where they were planning on getting in the business. So to be there from the ground floor when they didn't even have a machine,
Yeah.
to planning that, to setting up focus groups with implant people to start the process of building those machines, and for my friends and my colleagues in the implants to see Rico doing things that they suggested was
Yeah.
very, very interesting and very good. And I found it rewarding. And then when they had me come on board, and I was like, look, I'm not a demo guy. I'm not going to go sell your machine. But in essence, I did just by simply talking to people
Right.
about what we were trying to do.
Yeah.
And it was a great experience. I learned that corporate America is just as screwed up as we are at any entity in the country. They have their issues, but it was a wonderful experience. And that Rico experience in particular, for them to go from where they were in 2007 to now today, or even 15 years ago, becoming a leader in the industry and manufacturing of printing equipment is amazing. And
Yeah.
that story should have been told. It hasn't been in Forbes magazine, it hadn't been anywhere. And it's a great story to tell. And I'm happy I was a part of that. Plus, it
Yeah.
gave me insight in how the corporate vendor in our industry
Yeah.
works.
Yep.
And I think I was just as beneficial to them as they were to me, because I was telling them how implants work and how
Yeah.
they can get value if they focus on the implant. Implants, we pay our bills. We pay our bills early. We don't tell you we're going to buy something and buy something else. We just don't do that. Yes,
Mhm.
our sales process is much longer than a commercial. But if you look at it from a big vantage point, you can see that we're going to pay our bills and we're going to be loyal to you. And when one of us buys one of your pieces of equipment, we sell 10 more
Mm.
because our
Yeah.
colleagues listen to us,
Yeah.
and come and find out our experience. So anyway,
Yeah.
it was a great experience. I really enjoyed that time there with Rico.
Yeah, good. And it brought you, yeah, a lot of insight into how our vendors think, which
Yep,
probably helps getting vendor supporters for the conference.
correct.
Yeah. Well, when did you actually start as IPMA's executive director?
November 2016.
November 2016. But of course, you've been attending the conference for about 30 years, I think. I think your first one was in
Yeah,
Reno, did you say?
yeah, it's in 95, I think. It's
Yeah,
not
97. Yeah.
97,
Um,
whatever.
what was different about your approach to running IPMA than your predecessors?
Everybody does it their own way and has their own
Yeah.
flair. Back when I started, IPMA at the conference would have 500 to 700 attendees. Is a
Oh yeah.
much, much different event
Yeah.
than what I do. Karma before me, she did it her way and she had her things she did well. I just came in and I said, I'm going to do it the way I like, get feedback and adjust. I did not want us to go to big cities because they were too expensive. Also, the other way around where you're fighting three other conferences in the same convention center. I didn't want to do that. It's work for me.
Yeah.
And the way I go about planning a conference, I plan it like even like the social events. What would I like to do?
Yeah.
And then I adjust it too, since I know the group, what I think they would like to do. We've done so many different varied things, and it works out. People go to conferences, especially our conference, to have a good time, see old friends, talk about business. We talk about business 24/7 when we're there. So they're inclined to want to participate.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it
and
makes it easier.
I think your experience as an attendee for many years and also as a vendor attendee probably gave you a lot of good insights as
Of
to what
course it
people
did.
want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
What have been your biggest accomplishments in your time there?
One thing I'm very proud of is how we've become very inclusive with the vendor community.
Hmm.
We don't treat our vendors any different than we treat our attendees. We want them to be successful. We want them to meet people because we're not a conference where you're going to sign a purchase order for a piece of equipment. We're not that way. We're a relationship. So that's one of mine. The other thing is to enhance the road shows. The road shows have been a big hit
Yeah.
around the country. We don't make a lot of money. We're not trying to make a lot of money, but we reach a lot of people. We reach a lot of implants that we didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
You know how it's so hard to find these people where they are all over the country. We recently entered a contract with Swag Solutions to let people get into the specialty products market with no expense.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of that too. We've maintained a steady financial picture for us, even though we had 3 years where, with the COVID years, where we had no events. And when over 75% of our revenue comes from events
Mm.
and we stayed in business, that was remarkable too.
Yeah, that is an accomplishment. Now, you mentioned the road shows, which for those who don't know are mini IPMA conferences held around the country. Usually there's
Yeah.
a shop tour there of an implant. I've been to a couple and they've always been great. Where are the next couple going to be?
Well, at the end of July, we're going to be in Boulder, Colorado at the University of Colorado,
Nice.
followed by the next month will be the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. The next month will be at Omaha Public Schools.
Yeah.
Then we'll be at GPO, the largest implant in our country. And
Yeah.
and anybody who's listening to this, if you have any opportunity to get there, the tour is worth it. It's so
Yeah.
historical. These people print things you would never think about, and it's
Yeah.
a fantastic tour. And then we also do Carrington, which is a new member in Dallas.
Texas. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I plan to go to the GPO one for sure. I've been there a few times and it's always a great tour. And in October, the biggest road show of them all, sort of, will be Printing United Expo in Orlando, which IPMA will be participating in. You got a booth there. You're doing a breakfast, right?
Correct.
And a happy hour too.
Yes, yes.
And those are also open to non-members, right?
We're trying to get all implants involved. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you don't have to be a member. We'd love for you to be a member, but that's up to you.
So why do you think the expo is so important for implants to attend?
Well, I think it's important because you have to know your industry. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not a commercial printer. However, we have to know what's happening in our industry. Even if we don't have the need for some of the equipment, the software, the systems that are shown at that show is a great place to build a relationship with vendors. We're there to facilitate implant members and non-members just by getting them together where they can facilitate conversation between themselves. So it's a great experience.
Yeah, there's always a lot of implants there too, and
Yep.
they seem to converge on the IPMA booth, so it's a good networking event. So I always enjoy that. So you've done a great job increasing vendor participation at the IPMA conference. As you mentioned, there were 47 this year, so it was a real trade show. What's your secret to getting so many vendors to come to the conference?
Well, look, Bob, we have a great story to tell, and I like to tell our story because when you understand that some of these major vendors, manufacturers, they don't even know that nearly half or over half of their production business is through the implant world. They don't even realize that because some of them don't even categorize implants any different
Right,
than anybody else.
right.
So once they go back and check that number on me and they say, "Oh my God, yes we are," and all I have to do is just tell the story, tell them how successful so and so's been, and look, come and see our show, be at our conference, immerse yourself with the people, and you'll come back next year because you'll see how we all are. We're very family oriented. We take care of each other. We're information seeking people. So
Yeah.
if you've got something cool and new to show, we're going to listen. And every vendor tells me that we have the best response. People coming by to talk to them about what they have and what they're doing this year. So
Yeah.
it's an easy sell once they hear the story.
After all these years, do you feel a sense of satisfaction or accomplishment for the work you've done to help implants?
Yes, I do. I mean, I think we've done a good job. Some things worked, some things didn't work. That's okay. I don't mind that. You learn from your missteps, right? The one thing I would like is that if we had more cohesiveness within the implant industry, because we would be more valuable to the vendors and the vendors would listen to us as a whole. But we're fragmented, and I get that. I understand that.
Yeah. No, you've been pushing for that for some time now. Who have been some of your favorite people that you've met in the implant world?
Oh, God,
Thinking
there's some
back.
characters.
Yeah.
Take it back. Okay, when I started going to SUPDMC. That was the first Southeastern University Printing and Digital
Yeah.
Managers Conference. That was the first. LSU was a founding member of that organization. So, Bill May, Gary Williford,
Yeah.
Richard Beto, Jimmy Robinson, Drew Bergering, Tony Seaman from Ole Miss, Jimmy Friend from the University of North Texas,
Yeah. Yeah.
Donna from Texas, Houston. There's so many
Yeah.
people. And then I moved on to the A-Cup people, Harv Dahl and Joe Goss,
Yeah.
Mr. JT Sarantakis, John Sarantakis,
Yeah.
all those different people, Suzanne Ferguson, the IPMA people, Craig Sedgwick, Wes Barton,
Yeah.
so many people.
Yeah. All great
And I'd
people.
hate to keep naming them. Ray Chambers, of course, Ray and Catherine
Well, Ray,
Chambers,
yeah.
Dwayne McGee,
Yeah.
all these different people have just been so wonderful to work with and be friends, became friends for life.
That's true.
It didn't start out that way, but Bob, we've been friends
Yeah.
since the beginning, and we've become really good friends. I mean, I know about your family.
Yeah.
It's not just a working relationship.
Yeah. That's how it is in this industry, I think. A lot, really, really personal. I've made a lot of friends, all the folks
Oh,
you
Rodney
mentioned.
Brown. Can't forget Rodney Brown.
Yeah. Yeah. Our friends from years back, some who have passed away.
And in the vendor community, I mean, Deborah Payne's been my
Oh,
friend for
Deborah.
many, many years.
Yeah.
Greg Chumley, all these different people. There's so many.
Yeah.
It's Dana
Debbie
Anastasia. You can't believe
Pavletic too.
Debbie Pavletic. She succeeded me as president of IPMA when I left, and I had to twist her arm a little bit to do that. She'll tell you that's true. And then she succeeded me at Rico. I mean, so,
Yeah.
Debbie's a wonderful person, and I wish her well in her retirement, too.
It's no secret that you plan to retire after next year's conference in South Carolina. Have you accomplished all you wanted to in the implant industry?
There's always stuff you want, more sessions and more information and have a greater vendor community, all that kind of stuff. I would love to have more of that. But
Yeah.
I do feel successful in what I have done. So
Yeah.
I'm proud of that.
What are you going to do after you retire?
I'm not a hobby guy, so I don't really know, except there's a couple of organizations that help the poor and the elderly
Yeah.
and with business services. And so I'm going to get my notary public license and
Huh.
do those services for the poor and the elderly. That's just my one way of giving back a little bit.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. And then
Mike,
I'm going to travel and see my grandchildren.
yeah, of course. Well, Mike, we will miss you, and it's hard to envision the industry without you having a part in it, but all that is still a year away, so we'll make the most of that year. It's been
Yes.
great talking with you, and
You too, Bob.
I'll definitely see you at Printing United Expo in Orlando.
Sounds great, Bob. Thanks so much.
Thanks for listening to the Implant Outlook podcast.